You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. On today's show, we are breaking down some of the top trade candidates for Dallas. They have been willing and have made multiple deals this year, mostly adding players. However, the Cowboys currently have 75 players under contract. They have 10 draft picks. That's 85 for a 90-man roster limit, unless they want to go super small at the undrafted free agency timeline or trade away some of their draft picks for future picks, which I wouldn't be mad at, by the way. A trade is in the cards. So will the Cowboys trade away a player? We'll go before camp to give you they made a trade 2 days after the draft type of deal. 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Number 1 for me is Damone Clark, the linebacker. And I'm trying to focus on players who might actually have some value. Clark is owed $3.47 million this year. That is his cap hit. The Cowboys would save the basically non-remaining signing bonus stuff from that's about $3.41, which is also what a new team would owe Damone Clark. And I do worry that that level of cost might make him a more likely cut candidate than it would make a trade candidate. He played a lot in 2023. He had 100-plus tackles. He wasn't the most consistent and kind of really fell out of favor in Dallas. Not just with this staff, but even kind of the previous one. I don't think they wanted to play him as much as they were kind of forced to. And the Cowboys have additional options. Now, we'll see when DeMarvion Overshown gets healthy, but they have Maurice Leafau back. They traded for Kenneth Murray. They signed Jack Sanborn. Buddy Johnson is a special teamer who could carve out a roster spot. If the Cowboys draft a linebacker in the 5th round and Overshown gets healthy, that numbers game might not work in favor of Clark, especially given the potential savings you would be able to acquire with a move. You can be a hater or whatever, a trade value guy, whatever you want to call it there, but name a player who you want to trade. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Next up is Sam Williams. Now, this would probably be more of a preseason training camp type of trade, but I think this is the sneaky name to keep an eye out for. Isn't owed much. 1.55 is the cash owed. The Cowboys would save 1.48. That's not that bad in terms of a hypothetical asset to move on from, to flip Sam Williams and get something back for him. And for me, there's 2 things you have to look at here kind of in depth. Number 1, the production dipped this past year. I had 22 tackle, or in 2023, I should say. The TFLs went way down. The sacks went up, but the pressure rate wasn't particularly good either. And this is a Dan Quinn guy. And one thing we always know about the Cowboys is they're going to draft an edge. They do it every year under Will McClay. So that would be Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler, Marshawn Nealon's not going anywhere. They just signed Peyton Turner, probably won't cut him. You had a draft pick in, that's 6 edges. They going to carry 6 edges? I'm not so sure that they would, even if they want to go light at defensive tackle as they seemingly always do. I think depending on how early that edge rusher gets drafted, you can see Sam Williams available. Next up is wide receiver Jalen Tolbert. And I think that his job as the number 2 receiver is about to go away early in this year's draft, which, if they add another guy too, then you get a little bit intriguing there. $3.63 million cap hit. You save $3.41. New team owes him that. Not that much money for a guy that could be a low-end 3. I don't know how much interest there would really be in Jalen Tolbert, but I'll give him credit for this. He's gotten better every year. The bar is low. It was 2 catches in year 1. It was 22 in 2023, 49 and 7 scores in 2024. But again, there is a numbers game here. You have CeeDee Lamb. Let's say you spend the first-round pick on a wide receiver. You have Kevontae Turpin. You have Jonathan Mingo. Okay, there's your top 4. Not maybe in that order, but Turpin and Mingo aren't going to go anywhere. Tolbert's 5, but then you've also got Brooks and Ryan Flournoy, and somebody's on the outside looking in, barring injuries. Now, I don't think Jalen Brooks and Flournoy have any trade value. I don't think the Cowboys are going to punt on Mingo. That would leave then Tolbert as the name that could potentially be flipped. Today's show is made possible by GameTime. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. And GameTime makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for those hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices in the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. You can get up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, everything else in between. The GameTime all-in pricing feature shows your total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can also get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. You can kind of move your phone left, right, up, down so you can actually see what your seat view is going to end up looking like. Head over to GameTime.co, download the app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off your first purchase. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's GameTime.co, promo code ChatSports. Do make note, terms apply. Next up on the Cowboys trade candidates, and this one I think would only come if the Cowboys spent a premium asset on the piece at safety. Malik Hooker / Donovan Wilson. Hooker has a $7.75 million cap hit, 3.75 before June 1st, i.e. draft night, 5.75 after June 1st. 5.75 was what the new team would owe. Similar but not the same figures for Donovan Wilson. New team would owe him $7 million. Again, that's maybe a little expensive, but if something unique happened, let's say the Cowboys, they brought him in for a 30 visit. What if they drafted Andrew Makuba in the 3rd round if he fell to them? Then you could see a trade happen, unless they think Makuba can play nickel corner, which actually could be in the cards there. The Cowboys don't need a starting safety. They have Malik Hooker, they have Wilson. They've brought back Wanye Thomas. They brought back Marquise Bell. They will add a safety in some capacity, day 3 or as an undrafted free agent, but they don't have to make it a premium selection. If they did, then one of these guys could be on the block. Hooker is the free safety. I'd like to see more splash plays, but he's been fairly consistent for Dallas. Donovan Wilson is the opposite. He's had some splash plays, negative and positively. He's made some sacks, TFLs, pass breakups. When he plays well, the Cowboys win. When he plays poorly, it puts him in a bad spot. He's an inconsistent, impact player. Who do you like more of these two? MH for Malik Hooker, DW for Donovan Wilson. Let me know in the comments of today's show. A lot of recent late day 3 picks you could put on here that probably don't have much trade value, if any. The one that you might, and I'll emphasize might because I have my doubts on it, is getting something for Matt Waletzko, a.k.a. the centerpiece of the Amari Cooper trade. He's owed next to nothing, $1.1 million in cash. That's basically the vet minimum. He was a draft pick on the offensive line. And as we've seen many times in the NFL, you were drafted, that draft pedigree might get a team to take a chance on you. Hey, sometimes less than that when the Chiefs trade for Peyton Hendershot, for example. Cowboys' offensive line right now, really unique on the interior. It's Brock Hoffman, Sadiq Charles, TJ Bass, Robert Jones, all competing at the right guard spot. The tackle spot is interesting. Nathan Thomas might also be a guard option. Guyton, Awesome Richards, Terrence Steele. I think Waletzko is clearly the 4th best offensive lineman. What if the Cowboys spend a 5th or a 6th round pick on a tackle, which wouldn't surprise anybody, right? Could put Matt on the outside looking in. I will have more Cowboys YouTube videos multiple times per day, every single day, even beyond this upcoming NFL draft. Hit that sub button for more updates if you haven't already done so. Let's move to tight end, Jake Ferguson / Luke Schoonmaker. This, again, only happens if you spend a premium pick on a tight end. You say F it and take Tyler Warren or something in round 1. Or you do the funny thing and take Colston Loveland, which might break some of our minds. Ferguson is not owed very much, $3.41 million. He has proven himself to be a starting tight end. It's a matter of is it medium level or low level starting tight end. Schoonmaker is, cheaper. $1.32 million is what the cash owed is. They Might not tell that if they do it, before June 1st. He's also got 2 years of team control left on his deal. It is a solid tight end class. I don't think the Cowboys have to spend a pick. I don't think they view it as a need. They could if they wanted to for additional depth and competition and stuff, but it is not a glaring hole on this roster. Although Ferguson struggled this past year. I don't think he had the same chemistry with Rush as he did with Dak Prescott. And you can say the opposite about Luke Schoonmaker. He had better chemistry with Cooper Rush. And with Ferguson banged up, got to play more, was far more productive, has not lived up to second-round pedigree. Neither guy would fetch you that much in a trade. That's why it really only makes sense if you do it as after you spend a premium pick on a tight end, which, again, I don't think this team ends up doing.